interesting live, and it's really interesting how all this came up too. I happened to be talking to my best friend, dude I known since I was 13 years old, like 2 days ago. And he opened up to me about this experience that he had with his daughter, where his house was getting haunted by a spirit. And he's like, I know you're going to think I'm crazy. And he started reading me all these recordings and showing me these recordings and showing me tapes and all of that. And I was like, whoa, that's fucking nuts. So I showed him and talked to him 3 hours. So then the next day, I come home from work, I jump into Savage's live, and I saw him live with Lost Souls Paranormal TN, and I'm like, "Who's that?" And he's like, "Bro, I need to introduce you to this guy Jason, and he's been doing this and blah 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 blah, and I'm sure you guys have a lot along." So Jason, you there?
Yeah, hang on for me
Okay.
just a second. There I am.
Hey Lala,
Okay.
hey Dumplets, Savage.
Yo, what's up?
Okay, so Jason, first off,
Yeah.
first thing I want to ask you is at like what age in your life or did you realize that there was something more than this physical reality? And what happened?
I was my earliest experience when I was like 5 or 6. Um, it's it's kind of odd, but my grand trying to think here, my great grandmother, we were at her house, and this is like in the hills of Kentucky, basically. It's in one of the hollers, and so, I remember it sounds odd, but I was like, I'm 6. I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And this was an old farmhouse. So it had like 6 rooms upstairs, the big parlor, all the old furniture. I mean, it was like being 6 years old, it was kind of spooky, but it was cool
Yeah.
at the same time.
Hmm.
Um, so my mom, she went up, there was 3 stairs, a landing, and then stairs going up top. And that's where the main bathroom was.
Hmm.
So she's like, just go upstairs and use the bathroom. I said, okay. I got to the top of the steps. It freaked me out anyway, being 6, because, this house is old.
Yeah.
And I got to the top of the stairs. I was like, something doesn't feel right. It feels really weird. And it was like, I have to run to the other end of the hall where the bathroom is. Like
Okay. Yeah.
something was making me like, just you got to go.
Yeah.
And so as I'm getting out, and it started when I started to run, it was like there was 3 rooms on each side. So all the doors were closed. So here I am. I get to the bathroom, and it's an old skeleton key you can. Look through and see and all that.
Hmm.
So I do my business, and I've never forget, because I was washing my hands, and I kept hearing something like just kind of walking, but you're not sure because you're
Yeah.
6, so you don't really know what's happening.
Yeah.
And I remember somebody knocking on the door, which I freaked because I knew everybody else was downstairs. I didn't hear anybody else, so I waited, and I backed up. And when I did, I saw the shadow. Like I saw like legit, like a shadow of someone. And I'm like, when I came up here, there wasn't any lights on.
And like
There
a human
was
shadow. Hmm.
right. So I was like, okay. So I thought it took me a few minutes, but I got my courage worked up. I didn't even think at the time to look in the skeleton key hole. I didn't even think about that because I'm 6,
Yeah.
and I think about that as an adult too, a lot of times. But anyway, so I opened the door, and when I did, I stopped, and I'm like, all the doors were open. They were shut when
Oh,
I came
geez.
up. They
Yeah.
were open when I came out, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of like eerie. So I start doing that little like walk, to get my courage up. So I just took off. And as I was taking off, the doors were shutting behind me.
Ooh.
And I get to the top of the stairs, get down, and I'm just like, yep, that's what happened at my great granny's house.
Okay.
Didn't tell my
See, yeah.
parents, didn't say anything to
Never
them
said nothing.
because
Hmm.
no, because that was how I was raised. You
Yeah.
don't, that's not we don't talk about that stuff, basically.
And another
So
question, what made you want to go into doing the paranormal stuff?
Well, yeah, to do it for so long.
Yeah,
From
for
well, from
that
that
so
instance at
long. Like,
6, I mean,
Yeah, so like you always must have liked it, you know?
I
Like,
did. I always had a fascination with it because I was brought up Southern Baptist.
okay.
Um, so it was church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, any socials, whatever. And I
Hmm.
enjoyed that as a kid. But I knew from an early age that this was really just I know it's a religion, but it's just a group of people that you've known, right? Like you're
Yeah.
born, it's like you go to church with these people, church with those people, and they become your extended family.
Hmm.
But as I started getting older, I started questioning a lot of things. I started
Sure.
questioning.
Yeah.
I was still, under that kind of religious spell, I call it sometimes, because it's
Mhm.
like, you know, but as I started getting older and older, and then um, when I can't remember, it was when Paranormal State came out. I don't know if y'all remember that or not,
It's,
but it was on A&E, and it was like
okay.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
just came out, and I was like, okay, this is if I'm going to do it, I want it to be like these guys. They're very, very
Yeah. Hmm.
direct. They do their
Yeah.
research. They're on top of everything. And like from that moment, I was like, "Hey, wait a minute. I might be able to actually do something with this." I'm
Yeah.
able to hear and see. So with spirits. So I'm like, why can't? But it took me all those years to kind of break and I don't want to how I say this, but
I
religious
know what you
cycle.
mean. Yeah. I can get what
Um,
you're saying by that. Hmm.
because it's for me, it's a lot different because now that I've kind of got out of that and I'm doing my own thing with
Hmm.
with the paranormal, it's like all religions matter to me more than
Yeah.
just the one I was in,
Yes.
growing up. So
Yes.
now I
See.
have, and I'm older, so I have a little better understanding. But it's like it's really cool to be able to talk to non-religious and religious people about it, the
Yeah.
paranormal.
Yeah. Of course. And this is like with me. My house. I grew up in New York. I was always told things would happen there. I was young, really young, when we moved down here, so I always felt something, but never saw something there. But I was raised to believe. I was raised Catholic, but I didn't believe in anything until I was 18 years old, and I had a situation like a paranormal situation, and I'm like, it was a good one though. It
Right.
was one where I felt good out of it. Now, there's been another time where a couple, people across the street from me put a spell of Santeria, and I didn't know until the next day when I saw all the Santeria stuff out there, and it was me and my ex on the second story, and
Wow.
she pointed to the window on the second story, and there was a face there like I'm looking at you, smirking at me, and this went on for 4 hours. The most demonic shit
I'm
I could even
I'm not
conceive.
like laughing
No,
at
I
you,
know.
but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I get what you're
Listen,
saying. Like
I took
I
pictures.
believe, like that it's spiritual.
So
It's in spirit form somehow, some way.
yeah, so I didn't want to tell this to my family or anything, but I had pictures. So I'm like, okay, so I had them on my iPhone and my iPad. So I was sending them to people in my family, and they're like, "Oh my God, what the hell? What the fuck?" Like it went on for like 4 hours. Then I had a good one after that. Last one I had, I'm standing here. I was about to do a reel, and all of a sudden when I'm about to do the reel, I replayed it, and you see this thing walk by me like really fast, and then you slow it down at the beginning, and it didn't seem like human. I mean, it had it, but the walk was very awkward. So this is goes into the next thing. So now, how many cases would you say you've done in these 17 years of different types of paranormal activity?
We have, as of right now, we're a little over 100.
Okay. Okay. So are there different types? Is there like spirits that were dead, spirits that were never alive, demonic? Like, do they fall into different categories?
It's I know this is like a generic like thing, but
Hmm.
within the paranormal community, a lot of people like to classify it. They like to say, okay, this person passed away in this house in 1800. Well,
Yeah.
this person passed away, so they're passed on spirits kind of deal. And
Okay.
then, you get some other stuff too, but that's kind of how they
Yeah.
classify it. But for me, I don't really classify it
Okay.
because it's not, to me, it's spirit, it's
It's
energy. So,
Yeah.
That's just,
So, but there is a good and evil with it, right? I mean,
yes.
okay, so my friend, for example, when we were talking about this last night, like how it came up, this stuff started happening to his daughter. And it started getting where the thing talked to through the Alexa. He played me the tape, showed me the picture of this thing behind his daughter, and someone randomly DM'd him from Facebook, knew his whole situation, said it was a bloodline curse, and for him to
Oh
get these
gosh.
crystals. And he said he saw a manifestation of this thing at the end, and it did not look human. It was taller than the ceiling, a shadow coming at him. Like, so that's what's got me thinking, like, is it, are some of them just, were they never human, or some of them just like straight demonic, or they could they be curses? That's like classifying it, I guess, in a way with that. Um, because the ones I've been around, besides that Santeria thing, I could kind of feel it if it's an evil spirit, or if it's just like the one that's in here is just here, like doesn't,
Right.
I saw it. Yeah,
It's part of your reality, I guess. It's part of your human time here. That's what I like to call it. Is like your existence and your energy and stuff. So a lot of times we have good spirits that stay with us. And
so
they'll leave and come back, and kind of and honestly, it really depends on what religion you believe in, because there's a lot of different names for basically the same thing.
yes, exactly. And I have to say, most of the people I've ran into in my life have had experiences. Like, they don't want to talk about it,
Mhm.
like, but they have had. So you'd have to think, like, people, the higher ups in this world, they know this is real. Now, are they classifying it as aliens, maybe? Do they maybe use the same words? Because that's kind of what an assumption that I've came up with. Maybe it's, there's good and evil, but they're classifying it as aliens or UAPs or whatever? Are we dealing with the same type of thing, do you think?
That's I, I don't know. I'm gonna say this, but I look at things a little differently than everybody else, and I may be a little far out there, but I have this feeling or this energy to where not like me, but it's I believe that we're all created up of energy. We all have that. We got to have water,
Yeah.
minerals, and stuff to survive. And I think aliens had a play in it to some extent because when you start really looking at the stars and the moons and the planets, I still have a lot of questions.
Of course.
Like why do we only have a moon and it's hollow? You know,
Mm-hmm.
like why is it that we were put in a specific place in a specific
Yeah.
realm in a specific galaxy, and we're able to survive?
Yeah.
And that's and it's hard. I think about that a lot because it's kind of deep. But so when
Mm-hmm.
you really sit down and think about it, it's like, what is the meaning of being spiritual or being, is it your spirituality or is it something encoded in your DNA that you've had for, you know,
Well,
past lifetimes?
sure.
Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Like that's
Yes.
And
Yes.
and another question I would have is, do you believe in the afterlife, like as people coming back as when they die as like birds or bugs
Reincarnation.
or insects and stuff like that? Because whenever my grandpa had passed away, there was a bird that kept flying around. And then when my cousin passed away, there was like a butterfly. And I was like, what in the world? I just brushed it off and it just kept
right.
coming back.
Yep.
So I felt the energy. I was like, man, this can't be real. But then
Right.
I look
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it is real.
Mhm. Yeah. I have a strong. I think that in this in the realm that we're in
Mm-hmm.
currently. Now we're on our, if I'm correct here, I think it's our seventh, sixth or seventh evolution. So the world has been destroyed 6 times before
Yeah.
now, and and
Yeah.
and supposedly that's, and I
Mm-hmm.
put that in quotations
Yeah.
because
Because
that's
it could be much
it's an
more. It could be.
ongoing thing, but it's um when we pass, I believe that we go and it's not like, it's more of a spiritual, and you're on this train, and the train to you is you ride it forever. But
Right.
at some point, you're like, okay, I learned this in my past life, this in my past life, this in my past life,
Yes.
and I still need to work on this, and this to get to that next level. So then you are
Yes.
born
Sometimes
again.
I think.
Sorry,
Sometimes I
as a
think.
bird
Yeah.
animal human. Go
No,
ahead.
maybe we just take off the goggles at the end. It was just a VR game, and we're like,
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah.
I mean, I get a lot of thoughts about it, but
Mhm.
And another thing is, do you think that like when people die, do you think they just like rest, or everyone is just out around and about as
yeah,
good and bad
the people
spirits?
get stuck.
What would be your opinion?
I think it's a lot of how your spirit actually is. Like how, what traumas you've had in your life here now, to get you to the next plane. So I think that if you pass away and everything was okay in your life, maybe it wasn't great or it wasn't bad, but maybe it was just pretty normal.
Mhm.
If you're thinking, then you just, you go and do what you want to. But maybe there's spirits that pass away that need to fix stuff or talk to people, or
Yeah,
hey, don't get in that car on, you know, November the 10th or whatever it is,
yes,
don't drive. But I think that happens a lot
I've,
too.
I've
And
been through that.
much of our emotional states that we're in, because we're constantly evolving and moving and turning and twisting. And I think a lot of that has to do with, in when it's our time, because in the Southern Baptist, in that faith growing up, it was like we all have a number. That's
Yeah,
what they constantly told us.
yeah,
We all have our clock will expire one day. And I think it's a lot of perception with that too, of how you perceive,
yeah.
how
That's true.
you as an individual perceive the afterlife. Um,
Yeah, go
Now,
ahead.
oh no,
Keep going.
in
I
17 years,
go ahead.
oh my bad.
What?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, no, keep going.
So in
You're
17 years, your 17 years, what would be the most scariest
yeah,
experience you
that's what I was
had?
gonna ask. Tell me the
I,
scariest situation that blew your mind that you've ever been in.
the I have several, but this one is, we were at a investigation, and this is a well known place, um, in the paranormal community, but a lot of people won't go there, because it's sketchy from the get go. So me and my buddy Craig were like, "Hey, let's go during daytime, check this place out, talk to the owner, see what we can do." A couple weeks later, he calls, and he's like the most eccentric person I've ever met. It's like when you go to this place, you're driving on like the interstate. You get off on a highway, and you literally, drive for like 2 miles, turn on a road, and it turns into 1950.
Oh,
Dirt road, gravel. I mean, and I'm going, okay. I was like, oh, this is it. So we get back to this place, and it is insane. So we talk to the guy, get everything set up. He gives us. We always ask for people when we go on investigations to give us rules, so that way, you want us out of the space by this time or whatever. And he was like, "Look, you got free run of it until 6 a.m. Okay, cool." I should have known by the time we got there that it was going to be jacked up from the start, because even though he lived on the property, he was like, "Why y'all are here? I'm not going to bother you. I'm not going to mess with you. Y'all do your thing." Da da da. And at this time, this was one of the, I call it the free hotspots, because if you look it up, it's called the Greenback Castle in Greenback, Tennessee,
okay.
and it is literally like this guy built this castle by hand, and it has rooms in it. It has a cemetery or a pet cemetery. It has, like, I mean, it's just freaky. So we go in, get everything set up, and he leaves, which was cool. I was like, all right, good deal. And because it's kind of eerie sometimes when the clients are there with you, because you have to like protect yourself and them too. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like, but unbeknownst to us, this guy was already off the chart. And
Oh,
so we go and start setting everything up. It's going pretty good. We're getting some stuff and this and that. And then it was probably right at 2:45, and Craig was already, he's like, man, I gotta go get some batteries out of the truck. I'll be right back. I was like, okay. Well, something we needed. I couldn't remember what it was. And so he goes, and we parked. There wasn't any really parking at this place, so we all kind of had to pile up. And he goes over there and gets the batteries out, walks back over. I'm not paying attention because I'm doing my stuff. I'll make sure everybody's okay. We had a couple people there, whatever, make sure they were good. And everybody that was there were seasoned investigators. It wasn't like we had just,
yeah.
hey, let's go do this. The owner shows back up, and when he showed back up, he scared every one of us. Now, he didn't have
He
a
did.
flashlight or anything. He just shows up like out of the dark. Because we had like a couple floodlights set up for us, and then we just turned them off to see what
Yeah.
we were doing. And when he showed up, his whole demeanor had changed. Like his whole like personality, he was a good old dude at first, and da 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 da, and then but now he comes over wanting to show us around this place, and I'm like,
Okay.
okay, we should have done that first, probably.
Yeah.
And a couple of people we were with, they were over there, and he kept just trying to lead us off. Come over here and check this out. Kept trying to separate us, and I'm like,
Yeah.
no, 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 we're good, we're okay, like.
Mhm.
And soon as he had turned, when I said that he had turned, I saw his eyes change 3 times, and it went from regular to cat eyes to black, and
Shit.
then it flipped back to normal in like an instant. And the lady that was with us, she kind of like stood there, and I was like, what? I wanted to say something, but in the moment, it was just too
Yeah. Yeah.
traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yeah, just come over here. And I was like, no, I think we're good. We're getting ready to pack up, da da da, And I told Craig, I said, hey, start tearing down that stuff, and da da. We'll start to get out of here, because this dude was like, I don't get
Yes.
freaked out a lot, but this was a little freaky.
So this fear,
And
like, it took this to you, like, when, like,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah. And so Craig goes back over there, unplugs the power inverter, because at that time we were running a power inverter uh, on car battery, so we could have power and stuff, because this place didn't have any power at all. And so he went over there, unplugs it, goes there, starts. It was a Ford Explorer. Starts it. As soon as he starts it, the drivetrain dropped out of it. Just dropped
Oh
on.
shit.
He, I mean, just on the ground. And I could hear him. I couldn't hear what he was screaming. I could hear him.
Oh,
And it probably wasn't the
uh,
best words what he was saying at that moment. But because we didn't know at that time it was a drivetrain. He's like, it will not go in gear. It's not stuck in gear. Da 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 da. And I'm like, yeah, this is not good, for anybody. And so finally, we had to wait on a tow truck, this and that, but we never saw the owner guy again. He never came back. And
wow.
and I think about that a lot too, because maybe it was since he put so much work and everything into this. Because if you Google it and you look at it, I mean, there's a McDonald toy room, there's a church. I mean,
What
it's so
is it called?
the Greenback Castle. Sorry, I think I have a microphone and I have to like lean up.
Okay. So
No, Lala,
now,
do you have any questions for him or anything? Or like any experiences you had?
Yeah, your first experience was when you were 6. Like, how long were you in that environment? And then, like, what made, like, did it happen throughout your whole life, your teen years, other houses?
It actually, I kind of blocked it off, to be honest. Because growing up, and I know people say this, but growing up in the '80s, we didn't discuss stuff like this. I couldn't go and say, hey, this happened, that happened, whatever. It wasn't until I was 17, and I was talking to my mom and telling her, and I was like, hey, look, something's been bothering me for years. I really got to tell you. I couldn't really say it to my dad because he freaked out. And talked to my mom about it and everything, and I thought my mom, she had gifts. I really believe that she had them. It's just she didn't use
Yeah,
them.
mine
And
the same.
um, I was telling her about the experience I had, and she was like, "Oh yeah." She goes, "Well, if you go up to the top of the steps, and right there on the left, that's where we stayed when you were born." She goes, "So you were there, you know, in the house." And she goes, "There was many times I'd get up and come check on you, and you'd be laying in the crib and the rocking chair would be rocking,
Oh
and
wow.
I wouldn't think
Yes.
nothing about it, and I'd just go back to bed, and you were asleep, and and it was years later that because I had just like blocked it out. I had just shut it off in my mind because I was like teenager and doing all this other stuff and this and that, and then when it got to I was a little older, then I started kind of dabbling a little bit more. I was probably 25, 26 when I really started reading. I read everything I could, books, stuff like that, because the internet wasn't out yet. So I had to go to the library and check stuff out. I'm dating myself when I say that, but it's really crazy because you had to do all that research, you know.
Did you experience things outside of your own house, like going to friends' houses or going places and you kind of feel the spirits and whatnot? Do you have any like
Mhm.
something specific that happened that you're like, whoa, okay.
I had a guy growl at me at a grocery store one time,
Oh,
like legit, like I wasn't prepared for this by no means or anything. Because if you do paranormal stuff, it's like you're always cut your guards kind of always up. But I was like, man, I'm just going to get groceries. It's not that big of a deal. And I was walking through the aisle, and I saw this guy eyeball me, and he was like eyeball me from the side. And I turned and looked, and he just growled at me.
Yeah.
And
Like not
then
a human growl, right?
yeah, and then just stopped
Yes.
and kept talking to his wife, and they just kept going on, and I'm just like,
did anyone
yeah,
else hear it or see him growl?
nope,
Yeah. See,
nope.
now, did people
And
start
that
to
still
call
freaks
you
me
then?
out.
So, like, people would call you and say, like, "Hey, I have a haunting at my house. Can you guys come here and what would you, like? What's something a way to solve it, or does it depend on the situation, or on the person, or on, you know, like
All those,
how would
it's a combo of those really, because if we go out, we have a pretty extensive because we're 100% honest with the people, and that's the thing. Like it's like, okay, this is what we do. Here's a packet that has 30 questions on it. A lot of them are personal,
okay,
but we really need you to answer these. And if you can't, we might not be able to help. I mean,
okay.
you see what I'm saying? Because there's so much happening. But if they fill the questionnaire out and we can sit and go over it with them, because we
I would
kind
almost love to answer the questionnaire, but keep
and,
going. Yeah.
but I mean, there's some questions on there. Are you taking prescription medication? What
Yeah.
kind of prescription medication?
Ooh, yeah. Go
Are
another
you
direction with this.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
are you on hallucinogenics,
Okay.
mushrooms, anything like
Yeah.
that? I mean, it's a
Just
very, and people think we're crazy because we do it, but we've been on the other side in those houses,
yes.
in those investigations where we didn't ask those questions, and
Mhm.
it gets bad real quick,
I could
and
imagine.
so, so
Yeah.
but that's what we do is like you have a little prelim, and we'll try to meet them away from their residence
Mhm.
or their business, so that way we can have a little more privacy and stuff, because the spirits love to listen to everything, that that are present.
And are there some that follow the people with them that don't
That
leave the
that
people?
we've had a couple. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And do you
yeah.
Hmm.
just like sense that they're there, or how do you know if they're
It's
with them?
it's more of like a you know how when you slow somebody's voice down and it just so it's like
Yes,
kind of
I
like
heard these
like
recordings
that,
last night.
but it's
Hmm.
but it's very audible when it does that. So
Why
it's
is it like
chopped.
that? Do you
I
think
think
it
it's
seems like it's on another frequency
and
almost?
that's it. It
Yeah.
is
Like,
because I, I can't think of it right now, but there were three. Jimi Hendrix is one of them.
Oh,
He played in a higher scale than everybody else.
yes.
So the music was more soothing, and that's like the music scale that we should actually be listening to.
Yes,
From
yes.
I saw it on
Mhm.
documentary, and then I googled it, and did my a little bit of research on it. But it's him, and there's like three or four, I think 3 or 4 other people.
But
So
there's, I think Beethoven there's one he did in it too.
Now
yeah,
we listen to Hertz 342, and
They
that's so
do this,
demonic.
yeah, on
yeah,
purpose.
yeah,
hmm
yeah. And
Um,
that's a thing. But
Now, what's the way to
yeah,
solve it? Like, what is that, like a way that you have solved it? Like for someone that had called you over.
it really depends on the person. It depends on the people in the house. It depends on, and I don't know how to say this. It depends on the condition of the people. It depends on their
That's
mental state, their
yeah.
physical state. Like it really has everything to do with how they are.
So
Is their house, do they keep an orderly house? Do they not keep an
yes.
unorderly house? Is their car clean? I know this sounds random
No,
and
no,
weird,
no. This
but
sound no. It
but
sound makes perfect sense to me.
but
So if
but
they're a
we
mess and they're mentally a mess, it's gonna get
we,
them.
we can we can do
It's
our best to help them.
yeah. But
We
if they
can,
have their head on straight with it, and like yeah,
because a prime example, I'll make it quick. We had a family reach out to us with a little girl that kept seeing the spirits in her house. The little girl kept saying,
yeah,
you know, and there was like 3 or 4 of them. And so we go out there and everything, and it's like, okay, well, their house was located under a power guideline wire, like the big tall
yeah.
metal ones.
hmm
So we get our equipment out, and Craig's checking it, and EMFing it and doing everything. He's like, "We're good." He said, "Nothing around the house is all crazy. Meter box is good. He checked outlets and da 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 da. Everything was fine." I was like, "Okay." We go in there and do our investigation, do all of our stuff. I got scratched. I heard my name said 4 or 5 times. Like the
Yeah.
gamut of stuff. Well, we leave, go home. Everything's fine for a couple of days, and all of a sudden we get a call back, and stuff went bad again. So we're like, okay, we'll be out this weekend, check it out, do another investigation, da da da. So we go out there and do it, and we walk in the door, and we're sitting there talking to them and everything about their week and this and that. And he was like, yeah. And I think he did it subconsciously, I believe, like didn't tell us. And it wasn't that big of a deal that he didn't tell us,
hmm
but he had been staying at his father's house. Well, there was stuff going on at his father's house. So it's him and her and a little baby, the little girl. They're like 4. And so there was stuff going on there. Well, when they moved to the new house, which is like 4 or 5 blocks away, that things that happened at that
Uh,
house.
uh,
But at their house, nothing had happened. Well, things started happening. And he was going over every day to visit and stuff like that. Well, going to find out that there was some bad things that had happened and in his past and that he didn't tell us, and
mhm.
so it's kind of
So
like that
all that
aha
plays
moment.
into it, but yeah,
Yeah,
no, okay,
yeah,
yeah. Wow. Wow. So it's almost like the spiritual warfare out here is,
hmm,
in line with the spiritual warfare wherever that is on that frequency,
yep,
you know?
yep.
Now, I have a question. Why does spirits only attack little kids? Because
Well,
I hear more often that there's like something up
I
behind my
think
bed or in my
I hear
closet,
kids see it
like,
more.
Mm,
Like when I was young, my
yeah,
mom used
so
to say I saw it,
why is it
but
that?
like,
yep.
Like,
yeah.
why can't we feel it?
I mean,
But every time,
I
like,
think
they think because
that
the ghost is like saying, "Oh, well, if we do it to kids, nobody would know, right?"
right,
yeah,
right, because they're. I want to say I've read somewhere, or I may just think this, but for me, it was around the age of like when you hit puberty. You get that
yeah,
11, 12, 13. Your body's changing, your mind's changing. Everything is, you're doing more stuff, you're learning new things, and I think you just kind of push that side out. Like
yeah,
you don't mean to,
yeah,
but you just sort of, hey, I got to go to school, I got to get a job, I got to, everyday life happens,
yeah.
and
Um,
they're like, oh, look, there's these spirits are like, they're like, oh, look, there's a bunch of kids. They're,
yeah,
they're like, hey, they accept me. I can play with them and stuff,
yeah,
and they don't tell their parents, and like that weird like things, because we've been on cases where the kids are like, um, ghost said not to say anything to anybody. And I'm
Yeah, yeah.
sitting there going, what are you talking about? And then it clicks that it's like, okay, so what's happening here? What did the ghost do? What was in the previous life? What happened?
You have to
And
do it, but wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a lot of
Now
footwork.
you've been in houses where they are good spirits, but like, what do you
Mhm.
do with good spirits? You
Yeah.
just leave them
Just leave
alone,
it.
or
Like,
If they 9 times out of 10, they'll actually like lay back and not be as forthcoming
yeah,
because
that's,
they don't really want the attention. I feel that their environment that they're in, they're comfortable.
yeah,
So
that's the
the
experience on
the
it.
the human that's there now or spirit that's there now is not
Yeah, no.
bothering
And it
anybody or
never
so
made
anything.
what's
me
the
feel
worst
that
you think
feeling,
will happen? Like maybe you might hear them leaving outside your house, like when they're open
My
the
friend got
door.
scratched. My friend was
Right?
scratched.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
like,
It pulled him off the bed and
what's a good
scratched.
spirit? What's a sign though?
I think you
Like
would feel
will
it.
they just do this, like
Yeah.
open the drawer and shut it back, or like will they mess with? They won't mess with you, but they will mess with stuff in your house. You're saying?
Yeah. A lot of times you'll catch it on EVPs.
Yeah,
A
my
lot of
friend did.
times when you ask and stuff and you're somewhat nice about it, and not demanding and everything, that they'll come across and just be gentle. They may have not have been a good person in life, sort of say, but in the afterlife they're content with what, and that's how I look at it. Is if they're like, get out or go away or whatever,
Can you
then
demand
that.
them out? Is that the way to, I mean, in cases you've had, like to be able to say it was like a regular person, mentally fit, like, and he's having this issue, like, where do you go about getting rid of it? Like,
We just
what's,
we
if it's,
we'll go through steps. Um, First, we'll at least have a couple of paranormal investigations,
Mhm.
um, and we'll try to mix it up to where because for some odd reason, Saturday night is always the investigation night, and I don't know like
Really?
what that's. That's just one of those things, like everybody's like, we got to go Saturday night to this haunted
Yeah.
location or, Sunday night or whatever. But we'll go on the weekend, then we'll switch it up and try to go during the week when the family's in motion, they're doing their stuff,
Yeah.
or the person or whatever, they're doing their routine, and then we'll just go in. But if we can't fix it, then we'll either help them get with someone that can, or some sort of religious person or something like that, to where you can be like, okay, this is what we've done. This
Hmm.
is you're a bishop or a preacher or whatever in your um
Yeah.
your religion,
Depending on
and
what they believe, right?
right,
Yeah.
right,
Hmm.
and if
Yeah.
we've been on some cases where they don't believe it at all,
Ooh. But they see this, so they have
but
to.
they see it and they just want documentation that they're not crazy.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay, so
they,
they
they
still
just
don't believe in the God. They just think it's what do they? How
yeah,
did they justify
it's
that in their mind? That's just
they, that's something we never really got
yeah,
into,
that
um, because it was just on our questionnaire, it's like, are you religious?
yeah,
And that was the thing when they put, atheist on there. And I'm like, cool. If you don't believe anything, this is it. Because I'll go and tell you, I believe in a lot of stuff.
yeah.
Uh, because I've read a lot of stuff and I love it, so, like paranormal, so much. But Craig, my partner in Lost Souls, will go to the ends of the earth to try to debunk it. It don't matter what it is, what he
Yeah.
believes, but he will go.
Yeah,
He's the guy in the middle of the night with a flashlight standing there. Can you see this
yeah.
reflection?
It took me to have to literally go through it like a couple times to be like, okay, this is real. Like I
Yep.
didn't believe for years, but
Hmm.
yeah, but I've met so many other people that have. So that's why I would think like it's just a taboo subject, I guess, because of the wording of it,
Yep.
Like I don't know exactly what it is, but I think probably a lot more people than say it have gone through it or went through it at
Yeah.
least once.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's really interesting, and that's I wouldn't want to tap. I think a little bit afraid to tap into it because I'm worried about what would come back. you know, like to tap into, to even play with the Ouija board, because my family has a horror
Well,
story
see,
about the Ouija board and stuff,
well,
you know,
see,
but
I played with a Ouija board and with my
It,
cousin,
yeah,
and she was like, "Oh no, it ain't going to bother you. Just be gentle with it and be nice to it." And I'm thinking, it's a fucking board. Like, what do you mean, be gentle and be nice with it?
it
So
I'm
doesn't freak
sorry.
I'm
you
I'm
out.
like,
sitting here as a kid. I'm like 13 years
right.
old, and
Yeah.
I start messing with it. And I'm like, this shit's boring. I don't want to play with this. I got other things to do. I can go outside and ride a bike, or you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So I put it down and I'm like, I don't want to play with it no more. So I see that doodad fall, and it's a heavy doodad. Follows, and it don't break. Well, I pick it up, I put it back. I run in the other room. I'm like, what the hell? Like, this is crazy. So I run in the other room, and my cousin, she actually picks it up. I remember now. She picks it up, puts it back, and it goes, poof, flies in the, like on the back of the shelf. And I'm like, how the hell did that thing go in the back of the shelf? And it hit the hard wall.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here like, wow, this thing did not break,
That's
and it is
yeah.
fragile.
Hmm.
And then
And
also, I have another really, really important question to ask you. Now, you mess with spirit boxes and stuff. Now, what is the most, I don't know, I don't know if it would be motivational or most scariest or whatever it would be. Have you ever had any good spirits in your spirit box, or have you ever had bad? What good and
spirit
bad? That's what I
months.
want to know.
It's we've had it's kind of crazy because we've had a mix. We've had none. We've had a lot, and then we've had like that middle of the road where you get both.
And when you say spirit
And
box, what does he
it's
mean?
it runs off. It's like radio waves. Like it just
Oh,
continuously. It
my friend had,
continuously
yeah,
goes like
and it
you could.
records.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we usually have like a couple of digital recorders sitting around
Hmm.
when we do it. That way, it's constant.
Yeah,
It
my
makes that
friend
weird
was playing me some of
static.
that. He got from
Hmm.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
but it's I mean, we've heard things. We were at this old train depot in Georgia, and they had went in and they redid everything and stuff. And it's a museum, and the stuff that we got out of there was just like crazy because you have so many different. And I don't know that word, but generations of people up
Yeah,
until it closed,
yeah,
because that was the majority of transport, across America for so many years. And the stuff that we caught was just, ticket numbers and names and, just randomness of
yeah.
their day. And
It's
yeah,
what when I mean I told you I didn't believe in anything. I remember this was specific night this first thing happened. I was 18. I was on the phone with my sister. She's 16 years older than me. She was going through a rough time. And I said, I don't believe in God. There can't be a such thing as a God. I was at this place in Miami. My sister said, I don't either. Hung up the phone. That night was, I mean, fucking crazy. So then the next morning, the woman comes downstairs. I'm staying at this place in Miami. And I'm like, I was screaming, crying down there all night. They didn't come down at all. I'm like, some crazy shit happened here last night. She's like, oh yeah, I know. And she walks me over to the statue, and some African little statue, and it had sand around it. And she's like, yeah, every time I clean it up, the sand just comes back. It's a weird place. I'm like, fuck. But that was my first
thanks for letting me
experience.
know ahead of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, no, that was my first, where I was literally like, no, I don't believe it. Make the salt shaker fall off the counter. Do this. Turn the light on and off. And all it was like a fucking, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But
Now,
it intrigues me, but it does, like, and I have faith only because in what I believe in, because of what I believe in, what I've been through. So like my faith is strong when it comes to it. But I had definitely seen some horrible shit, pictures, everything. I deleted most of the pictures just to get them away. Um, what do you think with AI, how this is going to affect? Because I've already seen it coming through Alexa. I've seen it coming through, electronics, basically. It's,
Um,
more than. So,
the Tesla cars are a great example. You've
mhm,
seen the videos where they drive through graveyards and stuff, and people they shows the little stick figures, walking across and stuff, and I'm like, who in a million years, would have ever thought that you would go to a graveyard and see something? I mean, physically captured on a camera with AI
Yeah.
generated technology.
Yeah, and it's not
And
knowledge really. Like, it's
it's and I love watching the videos because the one guy that does it, he freaks out every time.
yeah,
When he's going through it, and he's like, "I'm sure there's a person right here," and there's like nobody around. And
yeah.
I think that's kind of freaky, and I think AI is going to have an effect on it.
It's I
Especially
just
with
think,
stuff. Go ahead,
yeah,
sir.
Now,
I feel like
I
it could
have a
be
very
easily,
important question. Oh, my bad.
they could speak through it.
You want me to go
They could
ahead?
communicate through it.
So, my really important question would be, if this ain't too much to ask, do you have any equipment with you that you could actually show us, or
I don't know how long we've been live for. I haven't when we go live at like 7 or 6, we have probably 10 minutes left, I would say.
do you like
I don't have
have?
any out, but I've got it all packed up. Um,
Oh, okay.
so normally on like when I get back from investigation, um, I usually don't try not to do a whole lot. Um, 3 days before,
Hmm.
um, just for my own. I'll eat certain things, listen to certain music, and
Positives,
just
like,
try to get myself into that mood or that rhythm, and then we get back. I usually try to take a couple of days before
So you're
because
saying it's not nothing to play with? Like
so this
once
is
it's up,
something
it's
like,
up
and
until the
mind has a
next
lot to do with it
investigation.
as well. You're
right,
saying like state of
right.
mind has a lot to do with it because if
It
you're, yeah.
I think for me personally, it has a lot to do with it.
Now, even
Um,
with maybe attracting it to state of mind, like if you're in a negativity, in a fear mode, like maybe you would attract.
because
That's
I've done some research like on my own where we have went to haunted places. Like we've been to Old South Pittsburgh Hospital a couple times. I think three now already. Um, but each time I went, I did my routine the same, but I changed my music up.
mm,
So going from the first time to the last time we went, it was completely different every time for me.
wow.
And
So,
I don't know if it's the music,
That makes
the
sense.
lyrics, because when you walk in, the spirits will, they already know you're there. They already know you're coming. And
so,
it's kind of like, okay, now what do I need to do to try to, you know, manage
Yeah.
this for the next 8 to 10 hours? Because
so my question would be like, so you don't mess with your equipment until you actually got to go to investigation because do you feel like it's like scary to like touch your own equipment
Like, would you
before
put it
it
on like in the house and stuff? Do you do
like
that
you
or
don't
like,
normally what I'll do, and it's sort of my own little like ritual deal. So what I'll do is I've got a small duffel bag. It's got batteries and all kinds of stuff in it. So I'll unzip that. I know it sounds crazy, but but
no? Yeah.
I, I I'll do my little thing, and okay, we got batteries are here. Okay, 9 volt
Yeah.
strip lays, whatever. Okay, that's here. We got that. Da, 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 da. And then I'll put it all in the bag, and I'll take it right back out and recheck it.
No, I do the same shit. I'm crazy like that.
And I'm
I'm
like, are you
OCD. Yeah.
serious right now? So normally after I do that, then I'll get like the tripods out because we put them back in the boxes. So you get it out and I check them, make sure everything's good.
Mm,
But it goes right back in the box because
yeah.
everything that we have has been to a haunted
Yeah. So, wow.
location. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So
so
I didn't
we
even think about that aspect of it.
and
So
I know it sounds like really strange or whatever, but when I get home, I completely strip down before I
shower,
come in the house.
right?
Because
Yeah.
those clothes have been,
Yeah.
you know, uh, to places that,
Who knows?
it's not
Yeah.
to say that are bad, but you got dirt and grime and stuff like that. But then you got the residue of any
Whatever.
spirits too. So,
Yeah.
or anything that may have been on your clothes. So I put them in a bag, tie them up, wash them all
Wow.
together.
Wow.
It's I don't know. Sometimes I think I take it too far, but
I don't know.
I want to make sure I
It makes
protect
sense
my
to me.
privacy and space.
Yes, because who knows what who knows? We don't know everything. What can
Mhm.
it attach to? What, like, yeah, it's just fascinating to me, though. It is. And it sounds like in all of the contact that there's like a barrier, it's a frequency, like something blocking it,
It's kind of
like
like
that's,
they
now.
like the
Like,
veil. People talk about the veil all the
yes.
time,
Mm-hmm.
and I think, and I've heard this for years, but the veil thins, especially around Halloween. That's the time it actually is the thinnest, and um, it's just weird to me how the rest of the year it stays like at moderation, but it lets stuff through. It lets like
Yeah.
spirit can come and go basically.
Mm-hmm. It's
Yeah,
very interesting. Yeah.
Now,
No, this is gonna.
another question is, have you ever used the spirit box for like loved ones that has passed away in your family? Was you able to reach out to them or?
I have not.
Have you
Um,
tried to do that?
I haven't.
Okay.
Um,
Do you think that's
bec-
dangerous to try?
I think it's dangerous for like my mental health, honestly.
Okay.
I've thought about it a lot, and I've thought about recording myself and doing some EVPs and stuff like that. And and that's the thing about the house that I'm in now. My father passed away in it,
Okay.
so
Mine too. Here
and so
in this
I'm
room.
so I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, but then the weirdest part is someone across the street from me passed away. The guy
My
up on the
next door
hill
neighbor
passed
passed
away.
away.
So it's
Yeah.
like I live in like this triangle of
Mhm.
like people that's passed away, and the randomness of that
Yeah.
until I really started thinking about it was kind of freaky, you
No,
know.
me too.
you
Me
know?
too. Now that I think about it.
But
Shit.
I've wanted to
Yeah.
though. I've really wanted to
Yeah.
do it, but I can't bring myself to.
I,
See, my
I feel
friend
like it would
has
be a
it.
really cool experiment,
Um,
man, because like you might could really reach out to
but
them,
you could
and with the
also reach
talent
out
you
to
have,
something that's not them, right?
Mm,
That's the
yeah,
problem. That's the problem.
yeah,
Like you might try to reach out to them and get something you don't want. That's what
right.
I was always told. When it comes to it.
Because what
That's why I
because
would love to. But
we have a resident ghost, and it's everybody's ever been to my house, and I mean it's random or they stay the night. It's boots. You hear boots walking heavy, like just and it'll come to the bedroom door and it'll
do you
stop.
think
And
it would
then
be like a army person?
I'm
you know,
from what I understand, it's one of the way I look at it, it's one of my spirit guides. It's never bothered
yeah,
me. I've never bothered it,
this is kind of how I felt about
and I
whatever
just
was
kind
here.
of let him do whatever. I've caught glimpses of him out of the corner of my eye. I've caught stuff, but I've just never
Yeah.
you know
If
never
if
ever done it
anything,
because there's
yeah.
so much.
If anything, the one here's done stuff that more to help than to hurt. You
Mhm.
know. One time my mom was walking under and she felt like something pushed her and the whole vent of the air conditioner fell down right behind her. It would have fucking crushed her.
Wow.
But shit like that, so I don't think whatever's here, I don't feel that vibe that I felt where I was around
Wow.
evil shit, like evil spirits.
You
And
I think if you're tuned in, you'll pick up on it. I
yeah,
think if you have a little bit of that, the gifts and stuff, you'll get it.
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's just you can. I mean, until that person did Santeria on me and my ex, and thank God she was there and we had film and everything because I would have thought I was going nuts. But I saw some evil entities that I could not even describe, literally. And then we had a picture, and in the picture you see a shadow, like a 7 foot tall clown stabbing me, a shadow stabbing me in my side, holding my arm up in a way that would twist my arm. And I was just looking out the window and she took the picture. It's
Wow,
nuts.
that is
Some of these
crazy.
are nuts, and I swear on anything. But yeah, it got very, very dark for like 4 hours straight.
Wow.
That one. They were doing some sort of spell that night because they were
So,
pissed at us. We were loud, and I saw the next morning the skulls and the setup, and I was like, "Oh, they're from Cuba. They do damn." That was it.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I had called my pastor friend to start. I mean, I didn't know what to do. Like, it was just, and it was coming out where I could send it to someone and show them, and they're like, "Holy shit!"
Right. That
But
is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, that
so
was
my
my.
mom, she has this friend of hers. Her mom and dad passed away, and she put a flashlight, one of the big flashlights, right there beside her TV, and left the flashlight on.
It might
and put a
end soon
picture
with it.
and put a picture right in front of like the mom and dad right there on the stand of the bed, and was like saying, hey, if you hear mom and dad, turn off this flashlight, or let me know you're here, or let me know you're here. And that flashlight went off. Now,
Yeah.
Oh
do you
wow.
think that is good spirits, or you think that could have been a mimic trying to reach, like, or is it good?
I,
Was it good spirits or bad spirits, or you think that was really her mom and dad?
I think it was like good communication.
Yeah.
So like whatever spirit was there, I
Thanks,
think
agree.
was is verbal.
Mm-hmm.
So excuse me.
You would
So
have
that
known
way it's
probably if it
they
was.
yeah. And with them turning the flashlight on and off, the communication like that's kind of what you want when you go to places that people have issues and stuff with
Mm-hmm.
hauntings and stuff, because that way you kind of can go in there and say, okay, here we're going to do this and this.
And
You
have
know,
you ever gotten any to decide to leave the place they were at?
we've had a couple.
Okay.
We've had a couple that it was slamming doors and and stuff, and it was we actually had to call a priest in, and when the priest got there, we stayed outside and let the priest do his stuff, and then when he okayed it, we went back in because that was that was what they wanted. So we try to accommodate them as best as we can, um, with that. But
So
that was
I know that you said that you take a lot of precautions when you get home, but I'm really curious to know if you've ever had anything like attach and come home with you. That's
I
my
have,
biggest
yeah.
fear.
Oof.
So how do you handle that? And has it happened a lot, or is it just like really strong spirits, or?
That the craziest thing about it, and I say that word craziest a lot because I can't make this stuff up. Like
Yeah.
it's
No,
just,
no, no. Yeah.
it's like um, we went out on an investigation, and it was a normal investigation. Da da da. People seeing shadows and stuff. We're like, okay, because honestly, we never take it too seriously until we get there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. And so we go in, do our stuff and everything, and we leave. And I got home and I was like, and literally for like 6 months, I think I was saying a little bit today, but for like 6 months, I went through this bad depression,
Mm.
and still got up every day, da da da, whatever. But I just felt just depressed. And then, unbeknownst to me, Craig was having the same issues because we don't talk about stuff like that. So
Okay.
we just, you know,
No, no, no. I'm
we're grown
listening. Yeah.
men, and we don't, we
Yeah.
don't ask each other, and that was what was funny about it. And then, like 4 months after that, I was over at his house and we're hanging out and stuff, and we're just having casual conversation. And I was like, man, for the past 6 months, I just been feeling really off. I just
Yeah.
been feeling really weird and stuff. And he was like, dude, me too. And it was like the conversation started. Like
Yeah.
I went through the same symptoms and stuff,
Ooh.
and come to find out, it was uh, I had, for me, before I had left the place, I didn't like cleanse myself. So
Okay. I
when
hope
I
this
got home,
doesn't shut off right now.
that
Hmm.
was it was with me. Yeah.
And
So
how did you get rid of it?
I just saged myself. Yeah. I went, I saged the house, saged myself, and then it just I haven't had any issues with it since.
Okay.
And like I said, this was kind of early on when in our career doing this, so we didn't have any idea,
Yeah.
what was really happening and stuff.
Mhm.
So
So this is going to end like any second, but this was an awesome live. I saw
hey, I
Now,
your website. You have
appreciate you
awesome
guys having me on
merchandise on
here.
your website.
Yeah.
Really,
Lala,
really cool stuff.
Yeah.
I want you
We'll
to
keep in
share
touch. I
your
would love to do this
experience.
again and do it
I
on
want you
maybe
to share
Spotify.
your
You know?
experience with him about the dinosaur.
Oh man, I saw a pterodactyl for real, a real pterodactyl in Missouri. In a, it came out of a barn, and it was absolutely huge. It was so frightening. It literally grabbed my son and hit the deck like, "Don't eat me." It was
Oh my,
ginormous, black, leathery, had to have been like 10 to 15 feet tall.
Really?
Like this
that is
thing was
wild.
huge. And then I like looked all over the internet for like any bird like it, and the only thing I could find was like back in the like 1800s or whatever when they found this big huge pterodactyl. I'm like, that's what I saw.
That is crazy. I wouldn't know what I'd have done if that would have happened to me.
I was,
You know, I'd have probably, I'd like
I,
freaked out.
And another question I would ask you, as in doing this for 17 years, can you feel like bad and good spirits in people
I'm
just
sure.
by just talking with them or being around them? Like,
I
like,
can.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
you